Hey Ken, time
Yep.
check. I think we're running a little late. Should we skip over and let Norm do his thing? I don't think
Yeah.
Ash is on the call tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like him to introduce it. I think it works better. So, Norm, if you're able to, you can tell us about
Okay, this is just a little bump and go conversion of a number 200 series reproduction Lionel trolley. And what I've done is taken a number 50 O-gauge gang car and extended the axles and stretched the wheelbase to match the frame on the trolley. And about the only alterations you got to do is like about a 2 by 3 inch hole in the floor of the trolley for the motor to stick up through. And I used a trolley because the trolley trailer because I didn't want to trash the motorized version. And then from there you put let's see, I guess the next slide will show the drive a little better. But so there's an extension of the bumpers, of course, to go out on each end. And when they're pushed in, they're basically flush, and an extended end, it sticks out about 3/8 or ½ inch. And I've added a chain drive to give it a little bit better traction, and also added a second pickup, which was a real problem because the only place I could put it was on the slide mechanism. And but that worked out all right. So it will go over switches, and it'll run. We ran it up at Winterfur for about 2 hours, so worked pretty good. And anyway, that's about all there was to it. The lights on the end I altered to make them flush so they wouldn't stick out. I added a light on the one end, and like I said, made them flush so that they wouldn't interfere with if you have a standard bumper, it comes in right where the headlight is, so it would get smashed. So that's why I recessed those. And I think that's about it.
Hey, Norm,
Yep.
so does it switch directions when it bumps into something?
It changes direction just like a 50 gang car does. Yeah.
Okay.
It hits a bumper. It's a bump and go.
Okay. It uses the mechanism that's built into the gang car.
Yeah.
Or you just extended it. Okay. That makes sense.
Actually I greased the one on this one and it worked too well. When it was going down a track, the slide would would disengage and knock it out of direction. It would stop. So it was too well lubricated. But we were just running it in one direction and just locked the bumper in one position. That picture there, you can see that's how far the bumper sticks out in the extended version. And when it bumps in on that end, then it would be roughly flush with the end of it.
Okay.
What a great idea.
Yeah. So anyway.
You retained the look of the original trolley.
Yeah, it's not much, not too much alterations. This is a little preview of my next project. I'm building an EM1, and this is one of the two engines that's completed. I've actually finished both engines. Still just have to do the valve gear on the other engine, and be starting to work on the boiler here shortly.
Did you gear that all the way through, or is it?
That's just run through the side rides this time. I'm not trying to gear it all the way through.
Yeah,
and it seems to work. Seems to work pretty well. Yeah.
Good.
What will you be using for your boiler and your shell?
3-inch exhaust pipe.
Yeah.
And then I weld a 1/2-inch strap on the sides, usually for the running boards, and that stiffens it up. And then the whole thing will just sit on two. There'll be a pivot on the center of each motor, and I made some preliminary checks, and it hangs out about 4.5 inches from the center of the track to the outside of the cab on a 57 diameter curve, so not too horrible. It's only about an inch more than my Frankenstein 2444 that runs
Can't
even on
read from
42.
scratch too.
Yes,
Wow, nice job. I like the valve gear. Well done.
yeah, that worked out good. And it's I've found it's if you tap into the bolts on the main driver there, you
Yeah,
can just drill and tap and put a chamfered screw in there, and you can just bolt it right onto the actually you're bolting the eccentric right onto the bolt for the driver.
Yeah.
And
You're
it works
using
out
the
real easy.
using the American Flower bolts.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, they give a nice finish.
yeah, for sure. Wow, looks fantastic.
The project was cutting the stinking rods out by hand.
I'll bet.
I go
I'll bet.
through dozens of Dremel blades.
Yeah, I have to get you hooked up with the water jet guy.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just, when you're just doing a couple of them, it's almost not worth it, but
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, so hopefully in about a month or a half, I'll have that done.
Well, bring it to York
Yeah,
if you
Hope so.
get done, or bring it to York if you're not done. You know, it's cool.
Yeah,
Work in progress.
yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
All right, Jim, you're up next.
All right, let me see what I can do here. I wish I had more new to show you, but I've been busy with a lot of streamliners, frankly. Let's see here.
All those yours, Jim?
What's that?
As we've seen earlier tonight, are they all yours? Did you build them all?
Oh, the 3 streamliners. Yeah, those were all mine. Let's see, can you guys see?
Yep.
Yeah,
That's better.
you
That's
get
better.
enough of the screen. Let me. Well, for a while there, I came out with the McKean car, sold a couple, and then was not a lot of action. Recently, things have picked up. You can see this. I can't. There we go. This is one of the early ones I did, but
Awesome.
come on. Had
like
a
the flywheel. Yeah,
kid designed me the side frame. I use an LGB drive with new axles and all. It works out beautifully. It's super smooth. But yeah, this is, if you look at the pictures of the original McKean car, it kind of looked like that. This is one that Rob English is on. This is his set. It's done in a GTO metallic color. I really like the way that one came out. Sparkly. And I do the trailers too. These are more recent ones. This is for Kirk, some Pennsylvania ones I've done recently. I also made a duplicate set for myself, and I'll be building another one for another lucky member of the group. And Max Champion, who's a big New York Central fan, had to have lightning stripes. So yep, there it is, a lightning stripe McKean car, which I thought came out kind of neat. I like in basic black.
Jim, how'd you create the lightning stripe? Did you have like highball graphics or somebody created, or?
No, I'm a big user of Crick Cut vinyl cutter, and you can buy a material that makes a good mask, and you draw up the mask, and then you draw up the stripes over top of it. So you mask and do the color, and then the white stripes go down on top of it. They'll get cut off by this vinyl cutter. So yeah, I do all that myself.
Fantastic, Jim. Fantastic.
Let me see, how do I get out of this?
I think there's more standard gauge McKean cars than McKean actually built.
Oh, way more.
That's the truth.
So my most recent streamliner, I'm finishing up the third one now, is this baby. and a lot of you probably have this in oak age. I've never found one nice enough to buy. They're usually all scratched up, usually the vestibules. But my 3D print kid did this beautiful job on the nose. The grills come out separately, and so you see they're painted chrome. They were just placed in there.
Got them right.
But what's that?
I said, you got them right.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Grills.
These are the 3 streamliner noses that I do. These are 3D printed, as is the bottom part of the Zephyr. Let me come back to that. So there's the first set. That's the one you saw running on the Winter Thor layout. I just am finishing up a 4-car set for another lucky member of the group. That'll have a combination RPO baggage in between after the coach. There's that nose. And I had to take
Jim,
this. Go ahead.
What's the material that you're using when you're doing the 3D printing?
Oh, in my case, it's a liquid resin.
Okay.
UV cure.
Yep.
So the resolution is like super fine. It's like 50 micron layers. This is a shot. I was putting a plug in for David Carson's layout. This is one little corner of it. I had to take a picture of my baby on one of his welded steel bridges. This is just a teaser on what this layout is all about, which is just over the top. Let's see, where am I? And I think there's a video in here somewhere. Maybe not. All right, let me go to the other streamliners. You know what? I'm not. Some of you guys have seen this before, but too bad. I'm gonna make you look at it again. Those of you that know modern era standard gauge know that Jerry Brown made something that resembled a green diamond. Only 4 sets were made. One of the sets that sold recently from Arno's auction was on display at the breakfast last fall. Beautiful set, but he kind of faked it because he used the city of Denver nose. One of the things that I was asked to do by one of my customers was to develop one that looked more like the real Illinois Central city of Denver. And so hence you got this big bulldog nose with this big wide grill. Another one that my CAD kid did, and you could say it's kind of a imposing thing, but I like it. They do all the 2-tone paint and 2-tone stripes and all. It's and now Jerry did 4. I've done a few more than that now, so I got him beat on that one. There's a 4-car set. I think, yeah, this is a little video.
Sit in amazement at all this, absolute amazement.
What's the diameter of track you're using for it?
I'm designing for 72 minimum. I could probably make it go tighter, but then I'd have to spread the cars farther apart. And that's tough. If any of you guys have ever been to Henning's Trains, which is one of my favorite places in the world, this is Harry Henning's shop there with all the parts he sells, and the green diamond proudly displayed on his countertop. So I thought it was a cool place to take a picture of it. And this is what the nose looks like when it comes out of the 3D printer. I have to splice and body work the 2 parts of the roof on that particular one because of the size constraints.
So on that particular one, the grill, you print it as all one piece?
The grill is separate. It's just placed in there.
Okay.
I don't really have any pictures of it without the grill. It looks like it got his teeth busted out, basically.
Right. But all of the different versions that you do the grill as a separate part.
So far, yeah. Now the Zephyr, the grill is integral with the roof. So, You know, if you look here, this is all, this grill is integral with the roof because it's all basically aluminum color, you know, stainless steel color. This one has been very popular. Thrilled to be able to offer it. I think it's the first time that anything like that was done in standard gauge. Bob Thone, some of you guys know, the Roberts Lines guy. He imported a gauge 1 scale Zephyr in the 90s, and it was a beautiful thing, but it was never done in standard gauge. Oh, very, very quick run. I think we had it done. So, you know, he actually bought one from me and was super thrilled. It was the first time in his life that he was able to run a standard gauge Zephyr on his layout. So just really fun. And then I think you guys covered the Glen tank cars before. I don't know whether there was a picture of Wayne in there. I think he was taking the pictures, but they're the three of us on David's workbench putting these things together. They went together just absolutely beautifully. There's the man himself. He put quite an investment in to make this car. That all these parts are machined out of blocks of aluminum, including the truck side frames and blisters, the ends, the domes. The railings and the catwalks are water jet cut. Just a beautiful product. This is his upstairs room where he is basically full of parts and stuff like that, but there's all the hooker tanks all lined up on the shelf, all ready for you guys. And on the table. The rubber bands, in case anyone was curious, is that some of these domes will press fit into the extruded aluminum tube. Some of them are just slightly loose, so we bond them in. You can see the ones where we could smack them in are already done, and the ones that we had to glue in have a rubber band waiting for that to cure. He tells me they're all done now, and there's the shell. So now let's see, what else was I going to cover here tonight? Keep it too long.
Were these two road names, were those all offered through the SGMA site?
Well, they're offered through SGMA, mostly, you know, like it was mostly word of mouth. I think we put a blast out on the groups.io that we were going to do these. I did a quick survey, which I found a bunch of pictures of tank cars, you know, and we surveyed the group, and I kind of made a couple of suggestions. The third one that we're doing is a silver Sunoco, very reminiscent of the one that you all had in your first train set in 1952 to 1958, two-dome car. It looks a little prettier than that one, but that's the third car. I don't have a picture of it here, but Dave had done all those, and they look great as well.
I think we talked about it in the October meeting and maybe even the July or June one that we're going to do this and try to make a certain number available. And
yeah, but I
Yeah,
know
you know,
I had to miss the last meeting, so
yeah, but I didn't order as many as I would like, but I think Jim, that's what you're saying. Maybe Dave is going to try to make some other road names available through his company directly.
I don't know whether he's on the call or not. I didn't see him there tonight, but you know, we did talk about it because, you know, he wasn't willing to commit to anything as long as we were still selling the SGMA cars. Now they went quick, told him, hey, we're sold out, you know. So we actually had we had some discussions, sometimes over drinks, sometimes up in his shop, about what road names to offer. We kicked around a few. I think he'll probably be reaching out. We'll probably do. Kerry had suggested that we do like a dark red tank with the pre-war mobile gas markings on it, which have like a white with black surround. What's that?
I'm thinking of something else with a flying horse or whatever. But
yeah, it has the flying horses on it too. That one, and a couple of others. We're trying to like pick different colors now, you know, just to kind of fill in the spectrum. but he's finalizing designs and he'll put something out. Maybe, I suspect he'll be ready to talk about it at the Spring York, but I think he's looking at four different road names other than these. He wanted to make sure that these were exclusive to us and he's not planning on reproducing them. Although I told him, I said, look, if you need to do it, you know, it's no big deal. So these have
Just
on
They
them,
wouldn't have the same number anyway, but here's the ones that he's thinking about. We looked at his wall of everything. And
showing
Celanese
some?
would be a green and yellow.
are you showing something?
No, I wrote the list down of what we discussed.
Oh, okay, go for it.
You know, the Celanese, which is green and yellow. Then you have Sunoco, but it'll be the black one. Baker's Chocolate, which would be a cream car. And ADM is a blue car.
Archer Daniels Midland, yeah.
Yeah. So those are the four that, you know, we had talked about a little bit, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was samples at York, because the man does amazing work.
He's a workaholic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm gonna put a plug in here. I mean, those of you that have been asking a long time, the sinking, the elusive F7 diesel. I just got word that the foundry is starting to make the shells for it. I've got everything else I need, except for the castings, and so I'm hoping to get some castings shortly, and I can let those of you that have been waiting the longest an idea of when I'll actually be able to build these things. I mean, like I say, it's been a year and a half in the making, waiting for these stinking castings. So my apologies. And the other one that folks ask about is the T1. And I, once again, I've been so busy that I haven't had the time to finish up the tooling for this guy, but I do intend to do it. Just some of the parts that we will made. This is what the drivers, this is what the unmachined drivers will look like. And now machined off onto a flame. Somebody's already starting to build it, I hear. And these are some of the tools. I gotta put these together, clean them up, make some changes based on what the foundry's telling me to do before I can make a shell casting.
Now, what is this one shell going to be made out of?
Oh, it'll be cast aluminum.
It'll be aluminum again. Okay.
Yeah, everything on this engine will be aluminum pretty much. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I mean the tender. I'm toying with whether to make a solid, a total sheet metal tender, or use some. I've got designs for the front and the back end, some very detailed. What would become castings? It might be like a 20-pound tender. So I'm kind of playing with what I'm going to do with that, but hopefully one of these fine days I'll get back to that. Now I just want to mention a couple other things that I don't have pictures, but I own a couple of Glen Toy 060 switchers that are missing valve gear. I'm drawing that stuff up. I'm going to make full sets of valve gear for that engine. So if anybody has engines that are missing that, I will make those sets. I'm doing the same thing for the Boucher 2500. I know Jim Kelly wants some, and I know a couple other guys on the West Coast want them, but a lot of those engines turn out they're missing everything but the main rod, side rods. I've drawn that one up, and I'm gonna finish up the Glen. They'll go out to the water jet guy. I'll have them cut out of stainless steel with so you can just be able to bolt them on your engines. And the other thing, I've got Win Becker making me up some Voltamp interurban trolley poles, the two pieces that come together with a spring, and the Voltamp, the side frames for that interurban. I picked up the Schupner molds and patterns for his version of the Voltamp interurban, which I really don't have any plans now to reproduce that, but I'm building three for myself, and I wanted to make a set similar to what Dave Wallace did with the Pride line units. So that'll allow me to finish that. But I'm making a bunch of extras. So if anybody needs those parts, I can source them for you. Just things to keep, to finish up some of these trains. I think that's about all I got for this time.
Thanks, Jim.
Back to you.
Hey, Joe.
Jim, I got a question, if
or-
I may ask. I'm Bill Reitzenberg. You guys don't really know me.
Hi,
But have
Bill.
you ever thought of doing a 3-dome?
Yeah, I mean, Dave has already done a 1 and a 2 and a 4 dome. Glenn Toy did a 3 dome tank, so I think that there was enough interest that he would do it. It's easy to go, add domes, but it's certainly possible. I own an original Glenn 3 dome mobile gas in black. And I know that Dave Carsat owns a couple, maybe you guys do too. But yeah, that's possible. All right, thanks very much. So where are we at now, Ken? Is that the end of the presentations?
Well, if Joe, we asked Joe if he wanted to talk some
Mania.
about any
He's
new,
still
yeah,
around?
new parts. I thought I saw him, but he
Yeah,
might have
he's there.
No,
disappeared.
I'm still here.
All right,
So I'm still hanging in here.
thank you. I need to stop putting you at the end of the thing. Maybe next time I'll put
That's
you
no
at the
problem.
beginning.
No problem. No. Yeah, well, Christmas and I do a lot of repairs. So the past couple of months been kind of slow with part production, trying to get stuff done for Christmas. But few little things that I've worked on. One of the minor things, but I've had a bunch of people ask the brake wheel. That's actually, well, it's not the brake wheel, but for the 216 hopper car, that's the wheel that opens and closes the chutes on the bottom. So it looks like a brake wheel, but completely different shape and whatnot. American Flyer, I did the headlights for the President Special 4000 series electrics. That's the snap-on headlight that goes on the roof with the celluloid insert. Working from headlights, did the Ives octagon headlights in nickel and brass. And we even put the cloth covered wire on there, because you do see some of the wire going through the roof.
Right.
Tiny parts, Lionel, early, we're talking about the 150 series and whatnot. 150 series 38, 33, the handrail stanchions, the solder on handrail stanchions go on the bodies. American Flyer, again, the large pantograph, again, from the President Specials and Mayflower. Another small stamping for Lionel is the coupler, what I would call them the coupler triangle, but it's a coupler mount for the CP22 couplers. Non-trained, but still kind of in there, did the drivers for the Lionel race cars.
Oh, cool.
The molded drivers. Yeah, I actually get quite a call. I just sent two sets of them out today. They've been going pretty good. Casting wise, I did the cast doors and windows for the early Ives litho stations.
Beautiful.
Other staying with Ives, again, the stations, there's the cast chimney with the litho. Well, it's a cast chimney cap with the tin litho chimney. And I think the last casting I did was for the Lionel 384, but it's just the pilot. So if that's broken off your frame and your frame is good, it's got this ridge on the back. You can glue it and screw it. File your old one off, put that on there. Yeah, that seems to be. They break a lot. You don't want to replace the whole frame if you don't have to. So, Chris was talking earlier about doing some litho billboards. I did do these just to see what they would turn out like. There's that one. These are actually off. I got the artwork from a Cheerios box from, I think, 1947. They offered cutout trains. So did them instead of doing them the way they did it, where you got tabs and all that. You don't need that with the tin. So just folded into a little tent style. The only reason I did them this size is I had a piece of scrap I could print them on. The first set, of course, I I screwed up, so this one I got right. I can make them. You can make them any size you want. You can make them, a foot wide if you wanted to.
Joe, are you doing the printing
Yeah,
yourself?
yeah, I find I had a buddy that was doing it. I stepped up and I'm buying all the equipment now. So
You finally
Wow,
broke
that's
down.
yeah,
I got a question for you. At the very
Fantastic.
beginning, you mentioned for the 216 hopper,
Mhm.
I have a 516
I
and
think
it's
it's
missing that piece on the bottom to shut the,
that I don't make yet. Yeah, all I make is the wheel right now.
Hey,
okay.
Joe, does anybody make the doors, 516 doors?
No, not that I know of. No.
We were eyeing up some Dave Carson stuff, some of the old stuff that Harmon did, and he did a covered hopper, and he used the 516 doors as the hatches on top of the covered hopper. I thought that was pretty cool.
Good idea.
Yeah, you need a bunch of them though,
I'd have to look and see how complicated it is. I mean, well, next time we get together, we'll talk about it. If you got a sample, obviously, that's the easiest thing to work from.
Yeah.
What,
yeah.
516 doors? I'll bring you down a cart, Joe. We'll just take a
All
look
right.
at it. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it might be
just a
something you
thought.
can fab up if it,
Yeah.
you might be able to cut a couple of corners and cut a couple of tools out. If you don't need all detail in it or whatnot. So,
Yeah, it doesn't, it can be a simplified one, frankly, it's got that little part that bends up that we really don't need. That'll end up getting sliced off. So just
yeah,
make,
take a look at it.
yeah, making a part that serves the new purpose would be pretty cool. But it's just, it's a thought. It's not, it's way down the list of things to build,
Yeah, well, let me know early. I'm not the quickest guy out here, so
Yeah.
as most of you know. So I got got a lot of irons in the fire. So
Yeah, don't we all?
yeah, I think that's all that's about all I've done in the past past couple of months to still try to get up with the Christmas repairs and everything else I got going on.
Hey,
Fantastic.
Hey, Joe, why don't you fill me in a little bit on the Tunerville station on some of the stuff you got for that?
I'm gonna actually I was the first one I think I showed you guys a little while back was all fabricated. It's printed. A lot of the slots I just ended up cutting by hand. I made little fixtures to cut it with a Dremel and some other stuff, but I got like 50 orders for them. It's just not, it's at the point where it's easier to make some punches and dies to punch the slots in the roof, punch the tab holes, punch the slots in the base, do all of that stuff. So I'm working on making the tooling and make the production a lot easier rather than sit there and try to hand cut each one. It's just not, I figured if I was going to make a half a dozen of them, I couldn't pay the tools off, but now it's, make the tools and, save the time on the other end.
Oh, there you go. This is the picture is those are the hatches on top there, Joe.
Okay.
This was a John Harmon creation from years back.
Yeah, we can come up with something.
Yeah.
We can come up with something.
That doesn't look too bad.
No, it's,
Yeah.
I wouldn't knock it all out in one shot. I'd,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blanket and then well, you make the blanket, stamp it, and roll the cores over.
yeah, well, that's easy, but the embossing should step and repeat them. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
you make one embossing die and just move it down 4 times. That's all.
Right. Right.
Yeah, this way, if you wanted to make, on a shorter car, you can make it longer, make it shorter. So
Right. Right.
I might even have something. I might have some stuff I can do something with that. We'll look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, somewhere in those 10,000 tools, right?
You have no idea. Chris will tell you.
Yeah.
He was just here the other day, like I said.
You gotta
Pumping
watch your
piece of
steps. That's all I
machinery
can
and-
say.
Hey, did you ever do anything with that big press?
I still got to get it in the shop. I
Yeah.
still got it inside. Yeah, there's two of them. There's the 30-ton flywheel and the 70-ton hydraulic.
Yeah, yeah.
I still got to get them in situated and get them up and rolling. So got a couple projects I need that 70-ton for.
Yeah, there's started toying with the idea of doing the Boucher Blue Comet cars, and the roof. I think there's some roofs around there that look like I think Pride Lines had made, probably via John Harmon's help. It's copper, and they're pretty nicely done. They're actually nicer than the originals. They're cleaner, but I wonder whether that press would be the way to form them.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah. 70 tons. Yeah.
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 That's a lot of energy.
Yeah, plenty of force there. I wouldn't even be surprised if that press didn't make those roofs.
You have like the small roofs that I make for like the Ives O gauge cars and little Iroquois cars, little 3-bump roofs, and even the 120 series cars only takes 3 tons.
3 tons
to form that roof. Yeah.
Yeah.
And why I do it in a 3-ton press. Let's say it takes 3 tons or less to do it. Yeah, it doesn't take a lot.
Wow.
So yeah, 70. Yeah, you're getting that's a good wallop.
Yeah, you can pretty much hurt it into shape.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, very cool. And then keep me posted on those headlights. That number 6-7 headlight.
Oh yeah. I gotta grab all that tooling. I got it because they're a hump to make.
They look like it. Yeah, I tried to still see if there's anything similar, like, because it's not going on one of those engines. It's going on those Jimmy Cohen steeple cab cars.
Cabs, yeah. Yeah, so there's just the pedestals that he made. That's where all that tooling came from. That's where all of the pedestal headlights came from.
Yeah,
but
Jimmy.
yeah, but doing the way his tooling was set up, and well, still is set up here, is you start out with a tube, anneal it, you put it in a form die, you press it in, and it starts to curl the back, but it work hardens. Take it out, you anneal it again, keep going. It takes 3 or 4 hits before you close the backside of it up. It's not the most efficient way of doing it. So what I'm going to try to do, when I made the dummy headlights for the 5s, I made a handful of those a couple of years back. I spun them, and doing the metal spinning is a lot. It's a lot more efficient, a little bit more tooling, but
I might land up just taking a piece of 1/2-inch brass and putting it on the lathe,
Well, no, actually, you start with the tube and just close the back up.
Yeah.
So you're not starting with a disc and bring it into a cylinder. You can still start with the tube and just close the back up that way. And it's a lot more efficient, but it's a lot more handwork. You're futzing around with it, and your results. It's a lot more finesse and a lot more practice, and it's not as definite as putting it in a die and closing the die to a certain point.
Sure.
You can do it too. If you force it a little too fast, you end up fracturing it. There's a little learning curve with doing some of that. So
yeah, I imagine.
But it's so fast. I'd rather throw a 6 of them out than take 45 minutes to make one.
Exactly. All right. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate all what you do. You're going to York, right?
We'll see. Yeah, I haven't made my mind up
yet. Yeah. It seems like a lot of the guys, the dealers are punting because they don't have enough to sell, and the costs keep going up. So
yeah, well, as the crowds diminish and the costs, I think my booth went up 20%, 25%. So it's closing halls and the crowd is obviously off. So
yeah, for sure. I was talking to Al Rudman at Sidetrack, and he's done. He's done with York. I mean, he used to have all that tin plate stuff, but he doesn't have the merchandise. And he says that he's got to sell $15,000 worth of stuff just to break even to cover costs.
Yeah. I mean, I got, as far as having merchandise, I don't even bring everything that I got. I bring just what I think is good for that. Being the manufacturer of it, I don't have a problem with that. But yeah, I can see with some of these guys where you're working on an even smaller margin,
Yeah,
it gets real difficult, real
for
difficult.
sure. Okay, thanks. Hey, Ken, I think that's the end of the agenda, right? Unless you got anything else you want to say, Joe?
That's it. Unless anybody's got any questions, that's
Cool.
Yeah, so that's it for the structured part of the call. I mean, always have people have questions or want to talk about things. We're stay as late as people would like. We end up skipping over the sort of new member introduction part I forgot. So if anybody's new and wants to introduce themselves, this might be a good time, but maybe we'll try and do that before the meeting starts next time. I know one time, Ed, you kind of led something like that and it was nice. Yeah, forget even new members. Some of us old members don't know but a small portion of each other. It's always good to hear who's where and what got you into collecting standard gauge or something. So maybe next March or April when we do this again, we can set aside a little bit longer time to do that.
I'm William Reifenberg. I go by Bill. I'm in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And actually, I just got into standard gauge about a month or so ago. I had some many years ago, and I just was looking for something different. I sold at least $40,000 to $50,000 worth of Lionel O gauge for about $5,000. I took it to an auction house, which was a mistake, but I still have a bunch of it. I still probably have about 10,000 worth in O gauge. I estimate, without realizing it, from the 26th of December till now, I have spent almost 3,000 or 4,000 buying track, cars, engines, and standard gauge.
Welcome to the club.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good
It's
down payment.
addicting.
It's a
I'm
good
retired.
sickness.
I'm retired. I have no kids. So I take care of my wife. She had a stroke about 5 years ago, but she's doing better. I had open heart surgery about a half a year to a year prior to that. I'm rated at 70%, but classified at 100% for PTSD. So.
Hey, welcome to the group.
Well, yeah, welcome to the group. Glad to have you.
Yeah.
If you're